What's happening, everybody? RC Lons 2, Arsenal 1 in the Champions League. We're here with Timo Too Good, and it's not a good day, Timo.
Yo.
I'm not gonna lie. I can't even say the second half of your name. It's not good. It's not good right now. Man.
Man. You can just tell from our energy right now. It's very fresh, but having to kind of have watched what we've sat here and had to, I don't even know where to start, bro. Like it's such an un-Arsenal like performance, and I'm not even looking at it from perspective of we've had 10 games unbeaten, etc. I'm talking about it's almost like we had this switch that has gone from, okay, we know who we're playing against and we're doing this and everything. And you rightfully said it at the start, like midway through the game, it's like we're playing Lisbon all over again. And these are the European lessons that we're going to learn. This is effectively the best time to learn them because we can't afford to have another blip like what I've seen tonight. Yeah. Besides the injury, because look, when it happened last season, it messed up the rest of our season with Saliba being injured. And then obviously now it's a thing where Saka's come off after half an hour, which, to an extent we feel, I know Arsenal fans all over the world are going to feel he shouldn't even have been on the team. He shouldn't have been on the bench.
Bro shouldn't even have touched pitch, bro.
Yeah. So when that's happened, and then obviously we'll talk more further on the other performances and the elements of what was needed tonight. It's disappointing. I haven't seen my team lose in a while. It's not even a matter of just losing, it's the way we've lost. And yeah, man, that's tired.
Yeah, it's not that we lost. Again, I can stomach a loss. Trust me, I've been here a long time. But
we have, yeah.
But the way we played, it was How to Train Your Dragon FC, Hiccups Pet FC. It was toothless, bro. It was straight toothless. I ain't gonna lie, bro. There was no, it was all probing. It was all rubbing over the skin, but no penetration. You know what I'm saying? Pause for you need to pause to do what you gotta do. But it's the truth. It's the real truth, bro. Like there was no incisive play. There was no incentive to get in there, make a consistent run, get a ball in the box. We just were athletically outclassed. And I feel like tactically, it just we were ran down. We just couldn't break it down. We just didn't have the motivation in us. And the motivation, the legs, the proper strategy. I don't know what to give it down to. But I'd say from one standpoint, again, I pointed out in mid match, but this was Sporting, bro. This felt like Sporting all over again. Again, they physically matched us. They were going to press us hard. They weren't going to let us breathe as much as possible. They're going to, again, get in the low block, get situated, and we just needed incisive, athletic running play. Something to happen off of the ball. Movement, motion, actual movement to make things happen, drag people out of position, activity. I feel like I saw none of that, again, apart from Declan Rice and Saka for the little bits that he was on before, again, the injury where he shouldn't have probably even started in the first place. Again,
it's a risk. I feel like, like you said, like it's one of those things where like I look at this and think, you've got the likes of a Nelson, a Smith Rowe, Fabio Vieira on the bench, and effectively how that game on the even ended. Saka coming off, you do not
even more incentive to not even touch him, bro. To not even include him in the starting squad, bro. I think Arteta got it wrong today. He got it wrong today, but I feel like I want
to say in a sense, I feel
with that selection, in my opinion,
I know what he want. I know there's the idea of what he wanted to do, and he fielded our strongest 11 possible.
he wanted to go strong, but in the same vein, this is like the context of what. Again, I'm not. If I see him go down with a knock, if I see Saka go down with a knock like that, I'm sorry. I don't want to risk that. And if you see Nelson at least looking at, again, being somewhat direct and looking at a game like this where they're gonna press high, there's gonna be times when in that low block they're ready to pounce. I think having somebody that's maybe a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more direct, like an Emil Smith Rowe, but namely in this winger position, Reese Nelson on either side to make something happen, that would have been more suited to this. And maybe if there's tired legs or something, or maybe we need something more, bring Saka on for maybe the last 20 if needed. But
I think
it's just, you know, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. But again, we got the worst end of the stick. We get the worst end of the stick, and now again, City's in jeopardy because of this. So it's tough.
I think the deal breaker for me here was he started both Saka and Trossard. Trossard obviously hadn't started or had any features
at all
in the game against Bournemouth, and I want to say that tonight was a very un-Trossard-like performance. He just wasn't up to speed.
His touches, bro.
It doesn't seem like his touches. I feel like
he was playing.
Just not.
He was playing Oppenheimer ball, bro. Yeah. That joint was a nuke. Yeah. He was.
That's effectively where I feel like when you've got a game of this magnitude, and especially because of how they all played last Champions League game, not even in the league games, but the last Champions League game. Of course, you want to instill confidence in the players that you selected. You want to kind of keep if it's not broken, don't fix it mentality around it. But I do feel, considering the injuries that we have had, you've now seen Saka go off injured. Trossard's clearly not up to match. If he is up to match fitness, he's not.
Yeah, like what the 100%. Hell? He's not in rhythm. I'll tell you that. He looking like, you know what I'm saying.
He looked off today.
Sorry to y'all, white folk with two left feet. You know what I'm saying. He looking out of balance over there. He looking off.
I felt that, and I just feel like as soon as Smith Rowe came on, there was a complete difference. I feel like when he was able to combine with Jesus a couple of times, or even get Ben White and Tomiyasu more involved, you could clearly see that's something we needed early, because that, I feel like, again, like you were saying, and how we were off just shortly after the game, Declan Rice seemed to be the most direct player on the pitch because he just wanted to make something happen, and with no movement in front of him, as much as we love Jesus for being able to kind of be dynamic in his play, he had Danso and another centre back to take care of. It's almost like because there's no third man run coming from midfield, Declan had to do it himself. Fabio Vieira is not an out-and-out winger, and he's going to come on the inside quite a lot, but again, nothing to kind of roll off of. So yeah, it's upsetting because of how we've set up and how we lost, and the player performances aren't going to be ones we want to have a look at again. Which is it's killing me, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. I feel like it's how we set up, and I've said that I made this analogy many a times before, but it's just coming back to me now. Again, this squad is not necessarily yes, the best players are going to play. You know what I'm saying? The people who are, again, giving their effort in training, cool, but for the situations of every game that's presented to us is going to be different tool cases, or different tools and different tools in the toolbox for every different case. And there's people who unlock things. There's people who keep things calm. There's different skill sets and variety of just competencies in the squad. And the fact that we're reaching this point where we're trying to make some certain tools in the squad do things other than what they're mainly geared to do, and trying to like contort certain things in a certain way. If we have runners and people who are able to be, again, more dynamic and direct in Reese Nelson or in an Emil Smith Rowe, why not make the way to accommodate for them in a situation where we don't have anything else? We have to have that level of inclusion, because the problem's not going to get solved if we're leaving, you know what I'm saying, if we're leaving the answer key right there. If we're leaving the answer key on the bench and only giving them 20 minutes to work when it was right there in front of us the entire time, we're doing ourselves a disservice. That's our own fault, to where we weren't able to capitalize, given we knew what it took to solve it. But the fact of, again, injuries, unfortunate, that takes a factor in it too, but we have the tools to solve it, but we're just not solving it. We're trying to swap things around. Again, why not try and just if you're going to be experimental, why not? I've been saying it again, people have been saying it online, swap sides with Odegaard, let him go left center mid, put Emil Smith Rowe in there for a game. If you're going to try and swap things around and move stuff about, why not? And give Emil Smith Rowe a chance to, again, just attack the space, because there were so many times there was space, just so much space in the midfield that could have been just channels to be ran through. That's Emil Smith Rowe's bread and butter, and
that would have unlocked so many things. I think it started to towards the end of the game when he came on, but just too little, too late.
It's just too late. You need to get into the rhythm of the game. You have to. There's a lot more that you've got to take into account with the players that have come on in order for them to make a difference. And ultimately, if the game's already stretched, you've just brought them on as soon as we've conceded a goal. I understand needing players to be alert and switched on, and that's probably the best moment in the game for any sub to come on. But then you've got to also think, okay, cool. Where's the passing rhythm gone? How many minutes am I going to need for those? How many minutes are those players going to need to actually settle into the current scenario and then ultimately be able to pull things off? Smith Rowe's unlucky not to get a goal. He's had a shot straight at the goalkeeper, and then obviously Nelson towards the end has obviously had a block, which was crazy heroics from Lens in the first place. So for me, it's like you clearly have what was needed to change that game. It's just the matter of how effectively whether those players start or how
proactivity,
how much sooner should
proactivity, man.
Yeah, that's all it is, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I can literally only name maybe 2 players that I felt were proactive throughout the entire 90 minutes, or essentially the whole match from an Arsenal perspective. Which is why I said again, I do feel sorry for Declan Rice, because from the moment you're moving up and down, side to side, and you're just looking for an option to the point where you're on the ball and your hands are out in front of you thinking, what is everyone doing? It's a problem. I obviously spoke more recently about Odegaard's performances in bigger games, and I just feel that there's an element of him being more of a direct passer in these games, and he needs to take the initiative, because if your captain isn't even running forward with the ball, looking to try and break lines,
facts,
or essentially just showing that element of ball progression and moving forward, it's gonna give the rest of the squad a different idea of what we're supposed to be doing. Smith Rowe comes on and does exactly what we've needed for the last 70 minutes or 80 minutes that we haven't had. Again, it's tough. It is tough. That this was not the time I want us to have a lost match going into the big game against City as well. You don't want to have the injury that we've had with Saka before that either. But if there's one thing I can say, look, it is a blip. We are only second in the group. But the more important thing here is they have to learn that lesson very quickly, because I don't want to speak on other teams right now, but I would hate to be a team that have just lost 2 games on the back, 2 games at home on the back, and then going into another league game in a few days.
And this is shit that pissed me off too. I can't even fully make fun of United. I can't even fully do that because we know we just got cooked by Lens, bro. We just got cooked by these guys. Like oh my goodness, bro. Like it's crazy, man. It's very, very, very frustrating to see how we went strong, but we didn't. We went strong and we could have blown them away. We had the game. We had the ability. We had the tools to really, really get at them. Even when they pressed, even when the physical activity was really, really high. Even when again the game got aggressive, but it's just we either got into a shell or we just didn't. We didn't go to the tools that we knew could unlock the game. And I feel like it was just we're trying to dance around the subject instead of actually getting to the heart of the problem and solving what it was. The first goal was really good. It capitalized off the mistake and being clinical, but I can take a positive from that. But outside of that, it's just like we have to keep. I don't know how to fully describe it. It's like when we have the tools to use it. When we got to use the hammer. Use a hammer. When we don't have any other hammer, use the damn hammer we have left. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't need to be certainly cheeky in certain things. I think you don't have to. This is my thing. I'm rambling a little bit, but there's just certain concessions that aren't being made that can be made in different contexts. Again, like. If Martin Odegaard wants to be more direct into the goal, and that's not creating more attacking chances, more opening of the game due to however a low block sets up against us, move him to the other side, get a runner on the opposite side of him, get a runner on the opposite side, or get somebody who can unlock with more direct pass angles naturally from that side, a la Fabio Vieira or something like that. Like there's ways around it, but I feel like. Okay, we can try and chop and change this, but he doesn't want to move certain things, and it's like if you want to truly commit to that contextual aspect of that contextual approach to a game, you can't rule out all possibilities, and in a
game. He'll know that more. That's what I'm saying. I think he'll know that more than anybody tonight because
100.
The way the game was going is almost like, okay, you like in terms of how long the likes of, and I don't even think Kai Havertz had a really poor performance.
I don't think he was poor, but it was just.
I just think it's a thing where when you see how the game's going in that regard, and you just feel like you need something more direct. Trossard had to come off earlier.
Facts.
It's arguable that maybe if you don't want to take off Odegaard, then you have to take off the likes of I don't know. I don't even know who was okay. So let's say
Tomiyasu definitely would have came over there for Ben White to create some again more dynamics with overlap.
I feel like the substitutions were right. I just feel like the timing of the substitutions
late, bro. 20 minutes too late to be exact.
And then even if you even look at the chances that we were able to kind of make off of those substitutions, that's one goal max. It ends as a 2-2 draw if we're lucky enough. But luck doesn't always come this way, and again, you have to ride your luck. And unfortunately, we ran out tonight, which obviously will be upsetting. But I just feel it's one of them things where if there was a time to have a learning experience, if there was a time to have a blip, it is now. I care at the fact it was Lens because it's a fairly inexperienced team within European football. They've had their first night in European football in God knows how many years. So it's an annoying one because it's them specifically. However, if this means that we now kick on and we're actually switched on for the rest of the campaign, not just in the Premier League, but within the Champions League, then it's a spot which we have to make use of.
100%.
You understand? It's not like we're bottom of the group. We're not even third. We are literally second, and we're a point behind Lens, who have to play against teams like the PSV, like Sevilla again. I'd like to think we'd be able to handle the other two teams if we could play how I know we can play.
It's as simple as that, man. The free hit's over. Now it's time to lock in for the rest of the group stage matches, bro.
Literally.
There it is. The learning curve's here. It's time for us to either put up or shut up. Real shit. It is what it is. But yeah, let's run through the 1 to 11 really quickly though. I don't want to spend too much time on that because they pissed me off today. I can't even front. David Raya, I'll give him a 6. I feel like for the most part he was good. I will say this though, he's had a couple of howlers back to back, and the fact that it ain't been fully acknowledged. And again, if Ramsdale was in the same situation, he's getting national coverage. Would have been national coverage on his head top of all. You know what I'm saying? Oh, he distributed the ball right to an opposition player that led to that crazy goal on the first one. You know what I'm saying? Like there were just certain things that it wouldn't be acceptable if it was Ramsdale. To be honest, it wasn't. I completely agree. It wasn't his best performance. Far from it. And I think that again. I say this again, and I stand on it. Him and Ramsdale are not far apart in terms of what they can bring to the table and the quality that they have. Their qualities are very similar. Their levels very similar, but it's just the assurance. It's the mental part of it. It's that part that I think rides a little bit farther ahead. But the same mistakes can occur in the same ways. That's not the root of the problem. Ramsdale was never the root of the problem. So it's just. It's just people got to have some perspective, man. That's all I'm saying. People got to have some perspective. That's all I got to say.
Even add on that as well, I'd like to think that obviously a lot of people have been saying how Raya's this, Ramsdale's that, whatnot. I think Raya's been put there not only to improve Ramsdale, but it's also been there to improve Raya because he's got potentially a transfer to work hard for, right? Because we may not even decide to spend the 27 odd million that has been quoted in regards to the deal for him.
That's facts.
Then the other aspect of it is the Ramsdale was fairly comfortable in goal last season, and when the mistakes did come, they came and they were pretty bad times. So I think this is a learning curve in a sense where when a mistake has happened and the goalkeeper's been a result of it, you're in a public spotlight, you have to deal with that. Then you have to overcome it. And if there's any two goalkeepers that can actually have to deal with that, especially with the background that Ramsdale's had prior to even being an Arsenal player, Ramsdale, that's what I'm saying. I feel like both of them will come out of this having learned better and being better goalkeepers. So this idea that one's better than the other, or you're trying to eventually pit them against each other using specific clips on social media to kind of identify, wow, Ramsdale's this or Raya's that needs to stop. That's not what's going on. And hopefully, both of them begin to peak or essentially have peak performances at the right time, because Arsenal need both to be able to perform at any given selection. So yeah.
Factuals. All right, give me Tomiyasu.
You know what? I don't want to be harsh on Tommy because I generally think he was one of the better players this evening. It seemed like he covered quite a few of the runs. Aerial duels weren't too bad.
Yeah. Right back.
Unfortunately, obviously, the goals have come from the other side. There isn't really much he can do in regards to either of the two goals. They've come from defensive mistakes away from him. So I would say he gets an average 6 for me. Nothing more than a 6. And that'll be that.
Yeah, I hear it. Saliba, I'm gonna give a 7. I feel like, out of the back line, he was probably the strongest player. I think he played out of a lot of dangerous situations, helped us, rotate the ball under pressure. Cool as always. It is what it is. I have to kind of replay the goals again in my mind to see where he was in some of those actions, but I don't think those were directly his fault, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, he gets a 7 for me. Give me Gabriel.
Strange, because obviously if you look at the performance he had on the weekend, especially with someone we identify as being the away day defender that brings calm and collective towards the rest of the squad. It's probably an off, I wouldn't even say a below par performance, but a questionable one. It's something that we're not used to seeing from him, and I want to say it just like it is for performance. I want to look at it and think it's a blip in the progress charts, because we all know what he's capable of. We know how reliable he is. He'll look at that performance and be disappointed. I feel like he could have contributed more going forward as well as defensively. But yeah, I think he probably gets a 6.
Yeah, no,
6
fair.
from me.
Fair. Alexander Zinchenko, I'm going to probably give. I'd say a 6 as well. It could have been 6.5 or 6, but yeah, Zinchenko again, good, had some good spells going forward. I feel like out of most of the people in getting into that midfield space, he was the one that was trying to find those runs again over the top. Havertz made a few runs himself to go over the top, and there was a couple line breaking passes from him as well that were really good, but just nothing really came of it. And again, that side is where a lot of dangers were happening. So it's tough to call, but yeah, gets a 6 from me. Give me Martin Odegaard, captain today.
Probably my first rating below a 6 today. I think it's pretty much what I spoke of 2 weeks ago. I love Martin, bro. I feel like he's undoubtedly one of the best attacking midfielders in the world, and in the Premier League. But if there's one thing I'd like to see him do more, that I feel like he even did more last season, and even during his loan period, it was just take the ball, take them on, drive, move with the ball. It's like, I understand there's an element of pass first, potentially to your wider players in order for you to kind of get more space. But I just feel like the positions he was picking up and the balls he was receiving, and his decision making to do with what the ball is almost like, I don't want to approach the box in any way. I'd rather someone else do it. And I'm not saying that's not maybe that's a tactical aspect of how they want to progress up the field. But I feel like when you are losing, or you feel like the game is slipping in any sense, there has to be that element of urgency that you as the club captain need to engineer. If you're driving forward, Declan Rice will drive forward with you. I'm so sure that Fabio Vieira will drive with you, because that's the energy you're pumping into the rest of the team. But when you're not doing it, a lot of players are going to feel stationary. They're going to feel stuck in the mud. They're not going to want the ball as much. Besides that, I just feel like it's performance. I think he'll want to forget very, very soon, and he won't want to get into that City game with this similar mindset of
If I see this Martin Odegaard going into the City game, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I'm sending the goons. I
hope I don't get him. I hope for his sake, I'm hoping, he performs very well. But if he doesn't, you won't want to hear what I have to say on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sending goons with in clown cars. They sending pies. They throwing them at the training ground. No, I'm playing. That's crazy. Nah, but that ass though, he's gotta come with it. He's gotta want the ball. If we are going to have a lot of play flow and dictate through him, it has to come from the first few phases of play. It can't come from that final third all the time. The majority of the skew has to be from the first and second phase of play. It cannot be in that final third. Most of it has to come from the beginning. It can't be at the end, in my opinion. But Declan Rice clearing away man of the match. He's the only person getting an 8 today. Honestly, he's the only person I will give an 8 just to boost. Again, this guy running into the channels again. He's everywhere. His defensive qualities, offensive qualities, being able to run into the channels, being able to again pass, retain the ball. He was as much of a spark as anybody provided today. Honestly, he was as much of a spark as anybody provided, but there was nothing in front of him. There was again just some not as much next to him or behind him either. So it's just tough to deal. But he gets an 8 today. He's the man of the match. I'm sorry. We need more around him. We need more around him. He showed today he's the type of guy you build around. So, literally. So,
not for you.
Just we got to show up for him. You got to have the runners. You got to have that quality that you got to be up to standard, bro. Up to snuff. He was up to snuff. He was up to the challenge. Not really anybody else was today, honestly. Give me Kai Havertz.
Confidence. Confidence is definitely a lot better, having obviously scored against Bournemouth. I feel the couple of odd shots that he had on target, troubled the keeper to an extent. Good recoveries, something we've obviously associated with him since his arrival at Arsenal. I feel like he is unfortunate not to score. I don't think he did too much wrong. Maybe more so in regards to maybe the press after maybe 65 or 70 minutes. He was clearly tired and just needed a rest. For that reason, I don't think I'll give him anything more than a 6. I think he did all right, but again, it kind of goes down to where the important parts of that half kind of stem from, and where those goals that should have happened hadn't happened. So yeah, I think it's a 6 for Havertz from me. Yeah,
and again, one thing I will say is it was tough today. Him and Zinchenko in the same lineup. Seeing again offensively, I think there's definite upside, but defensively, it's kind of tough in certain situations where Zinchenko, there isn't as consistent plugging of the empty space between him and Zinchenko as to where last season, Xhaka basically slided left back whenever Zinchenko made a run. I think it's not the same exactly, and finding that dynamic is key for how we're operating from an offensive sense. And when the ball, if we turn it over, it's key for us to be in the right position. It can't just be Declan Rice closing down space the entire time. And Kai Havertz has to positionally align himself a little bit better, in my opinion. But yeah, that's that. Bukayo Saka, I can't give more than a 5 because he came in. Actually, wait, he gets an assist. He gets a 6.5. I lied. He got an assist. Off 20 minutes, he gets a 6.5. He was literally the spark of the attack. Again, if there was some person who was up to snuff that wasn't Declan Rice, it was Bukayo Saka, but I can't say that because he was only on for like 25 minutes. So yeah, there's that. Hopefully there's nothing wrong. It's just a minor knock, it's just a bit of cramp, and he's good to go for City. That's all I gotta say. Give me Trossard.
Leo. I don't normally give below 4s, but he just wasn't there today. It generally felt as if I'd seen Mudryk and Trossard swap places over the last, 6 months. I don't want to be too harsh on him, but I feel that's a harsh statement to make, considering Mudryk scored yesterday night. But I just feel that the player that I saw play today just wasn't at the races, whether it be first touch, involvement, distribution. It just felt like he was completely off the ball, and I want to say that it's based on the injury, and I don't want to be any more scrutinizing than that. I don't want to get any more into that. I just think it was an abysmal performance. I think Reece Nelson should have either started or been on a lot sooner, based on the makeup of what was going on today.
Yo, the funniest shit. I don't know if you've seen this video recently. I think it was like a football, a football video. Heady won. It was like Heady won. They were trying to do like a 2-touch challenge or something like that. The ball came in slow from the corner, and Heady won did a touch so heavy that it was faster than when the ball came into him, bro. I was like, yo, that's Trossard today, bro. What is my man on? My man's doing the Heady one. Like, yo, it was a sticky one still, bro. It was.
Yeah, it was a sticky one.
Everything was sticky for him except for the ball. The ball wasn't even sticking to him,
ball
bro.
wasn't sticking. Yeah.
Pause. But still, that's crazy, son. Like, yo, like Trossard was just not. It was just the lack of fitness, lack of concentration. He wasn't up to the match flow. He was not up to it. Jesus.
So that's where I thought, unfortunately, that's how the game went today. Which is weird because that's probably the only time I could probably say in the almost 12 months he's been with us that's probably been his worst performance.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, we spoke about it with Jorginho for the Tottenham game. These players need to be ready. Like they know exactly what they're getting into. Maybe there's an element of being rushed back too soon from the injury. I know he was on the bench against Bournemouth and he didn't feature. But again, if you're playing a Champions League game, I think you have to have played the game before and have had like some sort of energy reserved for a game like this. I feel maybe that may have been something to play with it. But again, he's getting a 4 from me.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too harsh, but yeah, that's the thing.
Fair. Gabriel Jesus, goal scorer as well. I'll give a 6.5 over his 90 minutes. I think it's pretty fair given he wasn't clinical in the North London derby, but he was clinical here. Again, the goal that he took, he had it very well. Again, a little bit of separation. If we can see that every week from him, that would be a godsend. That would be absolutely wonderful. But he had a tough task, man. Danso, credit to Danso. I think he was probably one of their standout players this match. Him and the guy up top, Wahi. Jesus was marked very well, I think, and he had got a couple wins out of that battle. But I think Danso marked him very, very well. It was just
very well.
Tough time out. So 6.5 for him. Subs in general, I will give. I will give Emil Smith Rowe. I'll give Emil Smith Rowe I'll give him a 6.5, and everybody else I'll give 6s. Pretty much ball standard stuff. That's pretty much there. I'll talk about Arteta today. Arteta gets a 5 today. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like most of that has come down to the Saka decision, in my opinion.
I was gonna say.
I'm sorry. Most how other people set up and stuff. I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at going strong in the Champions League because, on one hand, we're unproven. We haven't proven shit in the Champions League. So I understand going strong to try and again put the best foot forward there. But in the context of how Saka went down in the last game against Bournemouth,
I would have said, that for me, take a week off. No City, until City, and I feel like that's where he needs to be fully assessed, because if it now happens that he plays against City and he gets injured in that City game, we could be setting up for the tree to fall down. Like we could just be adding straws onto the camel's back at this point, and it's not helping. I get the fact that he wants the best players play twice a week and stuff like that, but again, when they're getting kicked up like this, I feel like there's some type of leeway or context that has to be applied to the situation. That's me. And on top of that, you have a player like Reece Nelson, a player like Emil Smith Rowe, who needed to come on, and start this match to aid the balance, just aid the ability that we have to run into channels and be more direct, and it just wasn't there. And again, even as you say that, it's kind of like you had Smith Rowe for maybe the last 10 minutes against Bournemouth, maybe even the last 20. I think they all had 20 minutes roughly. Nelson for 20 minutes. Those players are raring to get on the pitch again. So from what I understand, maybe I'm wrong, but those players are warm. They're ready to go.
Facts.
The area that even started that
he was as warm as Trossard. He was as warm as Trossard, who started.
Yeah, I mean, so in my head it's like, okay, Smith Rowe clearly could have got a goal in that game. If he didn't get that game, he'll get this game. And clearly he only had the one shot. But if he plays the 90, there's more of a part to play. If I also even feel like if it's to the point where you're that certain that you want to play Trossard, at least give those players 45.
Facts.
If somebody isn't performing at that point, then I call you rest assured. And I thought at that point it'd be a thing where, okay, he's rusty, I can give him benefit of the doubt. But you started him, so I have to look at it in the sense that he's ready. You've started him out, so I'm assuming he is ready to play. Wasn't the case. So that I feel that the 5 out of 10 is justified, which is rare because we don't normally, we're not in a position to really look at Arteta's choices and think, why has he gone and done that?
And it's
unfortunately
it's the one area where his game that has the most contention, in my opinion. It's just the man management and the team selection at certain times. I think that's still the part of his game that needs the most improvement. That's still like the farthest behind, in my opinion. But again, I'm just, who the fuck am I? But you know what I'm saying, it is what it is. But yeah, let us know what y'all thought of the match in the comment section below, what we need to do, improve based on how we performed against Luns. Wow. City next, bro. City next.
Literally, bro.
In the meantime, while y'all don't see me, I will be collecting every ounce of holy water in my general vicinity to pour around my room on all my Arsenal gear, just to make sure we're good. You know what I'm saying? I'm calling up Pogba's witch doctors to make sure that we can get some extra stuff. You know what I'm saying? So we can bless the Emirates. I'm calling Kyrie Irving as well right after that to blow some incense on the Emirates Stadium, just walk around all the halls, hospitality, and just do some extra stuff, because this performance wasn't it, and we need all the help we can get to make sure we good for City. And on Saka's injury too, bro. Nah. We can't flop this. Please. Come on. Let's tighten up. Tighten up, Arsenal. Tighten up. That's all I'm saying, man. Love y'all. We up out of here. Timo, appreciate you for the time, dog, as always. We gotta go, bro. We'll see y'all after City, man. COYG.